your case is unique in the sense that you've had a COPA investigation done and they've completed their investigation. There are all these other cases that predated your raid that still haven't had any resolve. COPA hasn't completed their investigations, and the city is, fighting these cases in court. The children are being deposed. I just saw a deposition where they deposed Peter Mendez and they made him watch the body camera footage.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't even watch the story. How does it make you feel about these kids?
It's one of those situations where it's unfair and definitely continues to add to the trauma and the stress that an individual has to deal with. So when you think about young children who are not fully developed mentally or emotionally, having to be re-traumatized by watching a video of probably one of the most terrifying things they've experienced in their very young lives is totally unfair. I am so grateful and appreciative that my case did get the COPA report. But in the entire time of me fighting for this for myself, I've always mentioned that I wanted to fight for the other families as well. And so it's so disheartening for me to hear that these children are being, traumatized over and over again as they continue through this process of seeking justice. It's very disheartening. It's heartbreaking because a lot of these cases happened before my incident. And if it wasn't for those cases, I don't believe that mine would have even gotten the type of exposure that it did. So I stand on their shoulders, and it's so unfair that in the way that things have happened, I am getting more resolution, not complete resolution at this time, but I've gotten more resolution than they have. And it's just not fair, Dave, but it's also why each time that I ever speak in any public forum, I'm mentioning those other families because they mean that much to me. It's not fair. And, for myself, someone who works, in the city of Chicago and in the state of Illinois, and I pay taxes, my taxes, the money that I pay, those other families who pay their taxes, they're paying out of, that money also is coming out of their pockets and going into a system that is so unfair. And then even in my case, they went as far as to hire an additional outside attorney, which is costing more money. So they're not just spending the money that is paid from corporation counsel, they hired an outside supposedly expert to defend, the mayor in my particular case. The same mayor who said that she was committed to making me whole and making this right and holding officers accountable, but then yet she went and hired an outside attorney to defend her.
What would you say to Peter Mendez if you could say something to him?
And Dave, this, I've always wanted to personally meet Peter Mendez. I think that he's a very brave young man for being able to go through the same thing that I've gone through. And as an adult, I can't even imagine going through that as a young child. So I think Peter is very brave, and his family. I pray for Peter and his family. I want to meet him. I want to shake his hand or give him a hug. He's an amazing young man who has stood up against an awful system, which I have learned firsthand how awful that system can be. And he's a champion, if you ask me.